I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call: Dan. Here. Carolyn. Tom.
Here.
Steve.
Here.
Rod.
Here.
Next thing we need to do, if the board so chooses, is Mrs. Opitz would be able to be available on the phone to call and attend the meeting. So we need to have a motion for number 3 to approve that.
I'll make a motion to allow Carolyn to call in. I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Approved.
Hi, Carolyn. It's John. Are you available to join the meeting?
I am available, yes.
Okay, so I got you on speakerphone, and
Okay,
the meeting will proceed. We're on agenda item number 4.
okay.
Also, at this time, I guess if the board so chooses, I would recommend that we take number 12 and move it up to, so we can take care of that right now. So people want the bids, so they don't have to hang around.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move number 12 up the list and take care of the open and award road material for rock filling and bids. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to move number 12 up to just above number 4. All those in favor, any further discussion? Since there's none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Ayes have it.
Okay, I have a bid for Red Rock Granite here. To the board, Red Rock Granite is pleased to bid your township for the following products: screened decomposed granite, delivered anywhere in town of McMillan, 2023, seasoned at the rate of $9.78 per ton. I also have 6-inch by 0 dirty breaker rock. I believe that should be 8 on there, yes. Delivered anywhere in the town of McMillan for the 2023 season at a rate of $11.53 per ton. And then certificate of insurance also. Thank you for that. Wisconsin Salt Solutions. We're pleased to submit the following quote for dust control solution. 4,500 gallons of calcium chloride 38% solution, $1.34 per gallon. Price includes delivery, application, and fuel surcharge. Worden Enterprise LLC. Worden Enterprise LLC. We will supply any amount of decomposed granite anywhere in the town of McMillan for below price up to 12 months from the date of the bid. Delivered decomposed granite, $9.80 per ton. And there's a certificate of insurance also. Kafka Granite LLC. Deertown Board Kafka Road Materials LLC is pleased to bid your township on the following products. Decomposing granite, delivered anywhere in the town of McMillan, 2023 season at the rate of $9.30 per ton. Kafka Trucking is a subsidiary of Kafka Road Material and owns and operates over 40 trucks. Call Glenn direct at any time, 715-897-2101, with any questions regarding decomposing granite or trucking. And this is Paul Berger from Gugar Trucking Incorporated. Town of McMillan, base course gradation number 2 and crushed recycled blacktop bids. We will deliver course space spec 5/8 to 3/4 minus and 1 1/4 minus gradation number 2 anywhere in the township. The price is $9.40 per ton. We would deliver 4-inch gradatory brake run in lieu of the rock sand anywhere in the town for the township. The bid is $9 per ton. We will deliver breaker, dirty 6 to 8 inch anywhere in the township for the township for the bid price of $9 per ton. We will deliver crushed recycled blacktop anywhere in the township for the township. The bid price is $14 per ton. They also have their insurance, and then they have their state approval on their material. So, decomposing granite by the ton, delivered anywhere in the township. Red Rock was $978, Wharton was $980, and Kafka was $830. My bid was Kafka,
$930.
$830, I believe it was. Did I say $930?
It says nine.
I'm sure it was $830. 1 second here. It's $830.
It's 8:30?
I'm sorry, yes it is. It is. That is what I wrote, I must have said $930. It's Kafka Road Material LLC is pleased to bid your township for the following products. Decomposing granite delivered anywhere in the town of McMillan for the 2023 season at the rate of $830 per ton.
Wow.
I make the motion that Kafka gets the bid for decomposing granite delivered anywhere in the township for the price of $830 per ton.
I'll second that.
A motion second to approve Kafka for the decomposed granite. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Kafka has the decomposing granite.
Okay. Base course spec 5/8 to 3/4 minus and 1.25 minus, please bid material by the ton. Delivered anywhere in the township, base course 5/8, 3/4. Bugar had a price at $940 per ton. And I believe was the only one for that. So I would like to make I'd like to make a motion to award Bugar for base course spec 5/8 inch to 3/4 minus and 1.25 minus delivered anywhere in the township for the price of $940 per ton for the 2023 season.
I'll second that.
A motion second to accept Booger for the base course as stated by Tom. Any further discussion? If there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Booger has the base course of 1 3/4.
Aggregate gradation number 2 quantities, state certification required. Please bid by the ton. Ugar had a price of $940 per ton. And they did have a substitution in here for that, but they were the only bid on that. And honestly, I don't know what this substitution is. It's a 4-inch gradatory breaker run versus the shell rock sand. Can anybody help me out with that? Yes?
It's a fractured rock product,
Okay.
and it's crushed down to 4-inch minus,
Okay.
and it basically has a similar fines in it, just like the 3/4, 5/8 gravel.
Okay. I'll make a motion and then we'll talk about it. I'll make a motion that Paul Bugar Trucking receives the bid with a substitution of 4-inch gradatory breaker run in lieu of the shell rock sand, bid by the ton and delivered anywhere in the township for the 2023 season at $9 per ton.
I'll second that.
Motion second.
Okay,
Further
so
discussion?
basically why that item was on the list, it was on from last year and I just left it on. And I was told that the shell rock sand is a good builder for roads. So if we had small areas that we had to build up, take some soft spots out and build up, that's why we put the shell rock in there, because it was our understanding it might be a little bit less expensive than other things that you can put in there and it worked just as well. I don't know if that's gonna be a big item that we'd be purchasing. So I myself am okay with the 4-inch gradatory breaker run. If you guys have any issues with that,
Does that tie us into buying, I mean, how does that work? You know, if all of a sudden we're gonna do a road, we need 50 yards.
right, they would have the bid because nobody else bid on it.
Right.
So,
If that, what if it's found that that's not a product that we don't want? I'm just asking the question.
well, then I guess, you know, we don't vote on this item. And then we leave it open. If you need it, then we have to scout it and pay what the price is, the regular price for whatever we need.
But if it's, well, if we approve it and it's found not to be what we want, we're not obligated to buy it.
No, that is correct.
Right, yeah, so.
I have a motion, a second to pass Tom's statement. John, you wanna read that back?
So I've got award Bluegar with a substitution for 4-inch breaker run in lieu of shell rock sand at $9 per ton.
Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Guys have it.
Okay, breaker dirty, 6 to 8 inch, please bid materials by the ton, delivered anywhere within the township. We have 2 bids, Red Rock was $11.53 per ton, and Bluegar was $9 per ton. I make the motion that we award breaker dirty 6 to 8 inch to Bluegar at $9 per ton, delivered anywhere in the township for the 2023 season.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion, a second for 6 to 8 inch breaker run from Ruger. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Ruger has the 6 to 8 inch breaker run.
Dust inhibitor, calcium chloride 38%, approximately 10,000 gallons, more or less. Please bid materials by the gallon, delivered and applied anywhere within the township. We have 1 bid from Salt, I want to get their name right, Wisconsin Salt Solutions Division. And they had an amount of 4,500 gallons at $1.34 per gallon. So that would be twice that for what we need. I guess I make the motion that we award the dust inhibitor, calcium chloride 38%, to Wisconsin Salt Solutions Division. delivered and applied, but knowing that our asking amount was for 10,000 gallons, they gave 4,500 gallons. Just note in there that it would be twice that. 45 basically is what we would be looking for.
I think that's the size of their truck.
I do too, yeah.
That's-
And Pat knows that.
Yeah.
The other one has always come back also for more, so just so it's a note. For the 2023 season, or for the 23 season.
Was that a motion?
That was a motion.
I will second the motion.
We have a motion on the floor to accept Salt Solutions dust control at $1.34 per gallon. Any further discussion? Since there's none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Salt Solutions has it.
Okay. That's all I have for the bids.
Did the, aggregate is the same thing as base course?
Base course 5/8 to 3/4 minus.
Does that mean aggregate? Those are interchangeable terms?
Aggregate gradation number 2.
Yeah, they're basically interchangeable.
Okay, so the motion for, let's see, the second motion that you made to award Blue Guard $9.40 per ton for the base course spec 5/8 to 3/4, that encompasses the aggregate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was $9.40 per ton.
Yep.
Yes.
Good enough, Tom?
That's.
Okay. Moving on to number 4.
Thank you all for putting your bids in. I appreciate it, as I believe the board does also.
Comments from the visitors and public?
Thank you very much. Is that it with the bids?
That was it for
Yep.
bids, yes. We did not get a bid for, crack filling.
Yes, Gary?
Gary Brand, 116451 Birch Tree Road. I don't know, the crack filling, I had a 3-gallon pail, over half full that I picked out of my ditch. And, I'm only 280 some feet. And I don't know, if it's that way throughout the township this year. Does anyone notice? Has Pat said anything?
We actually, go ahead.
There's areas where every year it's that way, where it peels out. I mean, I don't know, we don't really know yet, we haven't, I guess, looked at it, whether it's any worse this year than last year.
Well, I've never had this much.
Well,
So I don't know, if, they're filling it too high and the plow's catching it, or,
So I did talk to Pat about this a couple weeks back, maybe 3 weeks ago or so. I noticed some myself on Stock when I was driving down the road. And I asked Pat about it, he noticed it also, and he said he didn't think it was the stuff that was applied last year, but the year before. But that is a concern of ours, because we did have a new contractor last year put it on, and they put it on differently than the one previous. And that was a concern of ours. So Pat does and is looking at this, and it is a concern, and it has to be looked at, whether or not we can tell if that's the old stuff or the new stuff coming off.
well, I had some of that on, and it sat way all winter. I get out to the end of my driveway, I don't wanna run all that shit through my snow blower, because I'm gonna shear a pin, I know
Was it the new
But,
stuff?
I mean,
or
it.
the
I don't know.
You can't,
But I've never seen it
Have
as
to know.
bad, and I've lived there for a lot of years.
Yes, and it could be the new stuff, I'm not sure, I don't know. It is a topic of discussion, and Pat is aware of this, and Pat does have to look at it and see if that stuff's stuck or not.
What
And
did they do different?
So, they
it was
put
just
it,
a different guy.
well, they put it down, and I noticed that they put it down and they weren't putting the toilet paper over top of it. Okay, so that was the first question I asked. And so they used a water and something solution. And I don't know what it is, and I did write it down. But basically what it does is it takes the heat out of it right away, and they were only using it when traffic was coming through. And they said that this is how they learned to do it in another township. And I told them I've never heard of that before. They did say that it works. Now, whether or not it did or not, I don't know. But when I saw that stuff over on Stott, that's the first question I asked the next morning. I asked Pat about it because I had a feeling that I didn't know if it was going to or not. That's my honest feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And until we get out there and look at it, I don't know.
That wasn't the filler material, that was just the coating they put on top of it.
That is the material that they fill the crack with, yes. Yep.
Okay. Was
And
water
it
based?
can come off in strings or chunks or.
It was just to keep it from getting the tire sticking to it?
Yes. Exactly.
Right.
But whether or not that had anything to do with the actual sealing of that, I don't know that. I don't know.
Right.
Yes.
Tom, aren't they supposed to rotor it first? To
They
open
did,
up
they-
that crack to a certain
They
distance?
routed
Yeah,
it.
They
they-
did?
They routed it and blew it out. I mean,
Yeah.
just like.
I think it's the one process at the end that they didn't do. From what I understand, that's the only difference between the previous contractor and this one, is the toilet paper and or what they treated it with after it was down.
Do they have
And it was a
warranty?
water solution, and I can't remember what it was, they mixed with the water solution. So that if a car was coming, they put it on there and it wouldn't stick to the tires of the car.
So
Is
then
there a
it
warranty?
obviously didn't stick with the road
That's
either.
actually a good question, you know,
Well,
and
it's up to
after a
road.
year, I don't know.
This
honestly,
car is
if it
all
could
full.
be. I don't know if it could
It's,
be.
it's all full of road material.
That I
When
don't
did we
know.
have our first?
And again, I think what we have to do is have Pat look at it and say, okay, Pat, so is this the old stuff or the new stuff? And go around and look at it, and if it isn't working, then we do have to talk to them about it.
Was there any warranty with their stuff?
I can actually ask them, somebody was just saying that there was a warranty on it. I've never heard of a warranty on it,
I didn't do that.
but it doesn't mean that there isn't. I mean,
Used to be.
I think. they-
after plowing for a season, I would doubt it. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
When was our first snow too?
it was a tough, it was
I
a
mean,
tough,
it's been
it was a terrible season this year as far as
Right,
wet and freezing.
right,
I mean, our winter was rain and freezing,
right.
and that was terrible on these roads. And I'm sorry, but our roads right now are, they're hurting right now, they are.
Well, and then the side road next to me that, you know, the board complains about the 800 feet needs gravel. Well, it's all in my ditch again.
The retirement.
It's- I'm just gonna lie, they just can't pick that damn wing up. Don't understand it.
It, you know, I can't tell you, I don't plow, I don't know, but I know myself, when I plowed my driveway, it was a tough year for me to plow. Because it kept thawing out, the top layer would thaw out, and I have a gravel driveway. And every time I'd set my plow on, I'd lift that plow out. Now you try and skim that plow across your driveway, good luck.
Yeah.
90% of mine's in my ditch also, yes. And I do it myself, and I go slow, and I'm doing my own driveway. And it's tough. Not to say, I'm just saying, this is my experience with it. I don't know. I don't know why.
And I mean, I can tell it was plowing. And the fast one, he's the one where I end up gravel way beyond the right of way in my yard. I mean, he may get done faster, but it makes a mess.
question, you didn't get any bids at all for crack sealing?
I did not.
Okay, was that put out for bids?
Yes.
Okay. They don't like us.
Well, I think, well, we had quite a few phone calls with the one last year, yes.
Mhm.
And there were questions out there on both sides. So I don't know why they didn't, I have no idea. I
Okay.
don't know. They put a bid in for something else, so I don't know. And, you know, and maybe, I'm not even gonna guess at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, number 5, need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes of March 13th, 2023.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second for the minutes for March 13th of 2023. Any further discussion on that? Since there is none, vote. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. Ayes have it. Minutes approved. Moving on to the March 28th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes, March 28th, 2023.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the town board meeting minutes for March 28th, 2023. Any further discussion on those? As there is none, all those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Minutes approved. Plan Commission Director?
Okay, we met on March 27th, and we did approve the Larry Weigel property going from rural estate, which it was in originally, to rural residential. And because part of it's in a floodplain, so instead of 2 lots, it will be 3 lots, or all over 2 acres. And with the one being in a floodplain, that makes it the larger lot. The only thing that we kind of talked about is to make sure that the town board addresses that no driveways come off from E. There's access to have it all come off Turtle. But yeah, we did approve that. Didn't have to do anything with the conditional use permit for the Mean Steel and Pools LLC, because they were ahead of the deadline. And we're kind of working on trying to get a checklist going together for the, in case we get approached by another subdivision.
Any questions?
I had one question, Director. At the meeting, there were 3 board members there?
4.
4, yeah. So, I'm just asking, because I don't know. Is there anything special we need to do, like, for a meeting within a meeting?
You can ask questions, but you're not official there.
But you know what I'm talking about, John?
You're basically there.
Oh,
But we had a quorum of the
But you
board.
weren't making any decisions?
yeah,
No.
so the plan commission, if that's gonna be a potential thing, then the plan commission, agenda should say that it's possible that there's a quorum of town board officials. That eliminates that situation.
Right, okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, but our ordinance does read that one supervisor attends our meetings.
Right.
3 of you show up, 1 of you shows up, none of you show up.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. I just want to make sure we're doing that right. That's all.
If it had been a joint meeting,
Well, yeah, that's my question. Does it automatically become a joint meeting?
no,
Okay.
it would be posted as a joint meeting.
Okay.
But it is assumed when there's a quorum of board members that board business is being discussed, so it needs to get on. So I'll come up with language to put on your agenda that can get put like down towards the bottom of something saying that,
It used to be on there, so.
that there might be a quorum of the
Can't
town
we just
board.
take what's at the bottom of your agenda? Because that's what the fire department puts on our agenda when we post it. Because it says, it is possibly a quorum of other governmental bodies of the municipality may be in attendance at the above
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, that should be fine.
Garbage and recycling, Steve?
and made a mistake in the newsletter that was aptly brought to my attention. The tire recycle goes on the 29th, not the 26th. So it is the last Saturday of the month. Still looking for volunteers if anybody's willing to do so. And then in the Wednesday Shopper's Guide and Hub City Times, they'll have another breakdown of what's going to be accepted. It's going to be much like last year. But if you look, and I left some of the garbage and recycle calendars on the table, it spells it out right there too. The first 8 tires, your commercial home tires, if you will, vehicles, those are free, and then it goes on up in a couple of different increments. So, that's all I got.
Okay. Library day?
Yeah, okay, so the library, we are, again, I think it's in, this fall, the joint, Marshall Public Library, Town of McMillan shared library agreement, comes up for renewal, and we'll have more meetings on that. Jill, the library director has some medical issues she's been dealing with, so that's kind of, I haven't seen her in a couple months, so, but I believe this month that we'll probably set it up for June, I believe, to have that meeting and to nail that particulars out, and then once we have that, then I'll bring that to the board, and then we'll have the final approval of that with the township, the town's lawyer as well, reviewing that. But again, the idea is not to change anything, to keep it the same, to go over a 3-year rolling average is the only difference, just to kind of get the year-over-year variations smoothed out. But I've talked about that before. And then the website, you know, John, we're just updating as we are, as it comes along. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Opitz?
Well, obviously I've been gone almost since the last meeting, but I think that the renters for the month of April, I know 2 of them I think have been done. And Rob, you checked after each of them, is that correct?
Correct.
So it's just a matter of, there's a lot to get done this spring, but of course nothing can really be done until we get rid of all the snow and we can actually get to the ground to get things done. I have contacted a couple of people. I have a couple more to contact as far as Des Moines for a quote. And I also have heard of another gentleman that might be willing to help just do the work of the playground, the volleyball court, and the ball diamond. So it is a plan that is being developed, so just waiting for spring.
Okay, Tom, highway?
So Pat and I have been talking a lot about different things that are going on in the township. One of them was the subject that Gary brought up earlier. Potholes, of course, are huge on the list right now. We're getting calls daily on potholes. I know that Pat filled up his truck this afternoon, and he will be on Man Street tomorrow filling potholes. We had a washout and a blacktop partial collapse on Birch Tree down in the far corner. Just as it rounds the corner today, it was probably 25 foot long and maybe from nothing to 6 inches, and then it went out to about 20 inches, and then back to nothing, and that's 25 foot. Pat has filled that in. There's not a lot we can do right now, so that is for the next supervisor that comes in, an issue that you should probably patch that in and fix that when you can get stuff on the road. Just doing, I have a couple culverts that I did, and then this Man Street project itself, it did not go like I expected it to the other night. I don't know if I want to talk a lot about it. I feel that I want to say something about it, but I don't want to get too deep about it. But there's a lot of stuff that went into this, that I did a lot of research and talked to a lot of people. And I truly believe that I am trying to do the best for this township when I was here. I truly believe that. And it may not seem like it, and I know I got opposition out there, and that's fine, that's politics. Unfortunately, I'm not a politician, so I take it differently than other people may. But I truly believe everything I said about the contract was 100% correct. And I know there's one person in this crowd that can stand up and back me up. That the people that don't like me or don't believe me would respect and say, yes, I'm not going to call that person out. If that person wants to get up and say something, that person can. But we've done bids like this for years, and I don't know why all of a sudden when I try to do a bid like this, everything changes. And it's frustrating to me because I ask a million questions and I've always been told these answers, and that's how I take my avenue and try to follow and get the answers for the township. I don't get a penny out of this, and I spend a lot of time on it. And sometimes, I'm sorry, but you gotta pay a little bit more to get the product at the end than what you want to. And if anybody wants to talk to me afterwards, I will tell you things that I'm not gonna say tonight right now. But when you go apples to apples on what happened here the other night, I truly believe that the one comes down to less than $30,000 over the other one. And that's what I'm gonna say about that. I was disappointed that it didn't pass. And I did make some mistakes on this. And the first one, Gary pointed out himself. He asked me, what about the good ones? I did not mention the good reports that I got. But I was so focused on the two that came back that weren't so good that I didn't say them. Eventually I did when I was asked about it, and I apologize for that. I should have said them up front. I did not.
I got a question for you, Tom. Did you get references from American Asphalt from the work they did at other townships?
I know their work. I've been
No,
on their jobs.
that's not what I asked
No,
you.
I did not. I did not. I did not because I know them and they've done work here before. The only reason I didn't, Deb, was because I never heard of the other company, and I went off of their names. They gave me a list of names. It wasn't my fault, the information I got from the people that I called.
Yeah.
I'm
asking.
just saying that this is my explanation for it. And I said it in that first meeting, is that I don't know you and I want to call references because I don't know you. And that's what I did. And this is the information that was given me. It's my job to bring that back to the township. I'm here to help the township and protect the township. This isn't company against company. I honestly believe that I put out there the best way to get Man Street done. That's my honest opinion. And I'm sticking with that. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff that went into it. And
Well, what are you talking about for 30,000 difference? Because there was actually 110,000.
yep, so they did give me a list of materials, the other company.
Yep.
And when we bring that down, that brought the total because the totals were totally different. It brought it down to just about $80,000, or just below $80,000. And then you look at the manpower on the two companies, and you figure that in, and you have union workers at the one and non-union workers at the other, and how much is going out into pay. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty good guess that all but 35,000-ish of that would be brought back into where
Union wages.
union wages, yes. The amount of people on the job, the union wages, state certified flag people. That's what I have there. And it is what it is. It seriously is. It is what it is. I get it. My dad told me young, when I was a young kid, that you can do everything right and still lose, so get used to it. So that's where I'm at. I just wanted to say a little bit about it, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, I could make up for the 30,000 too. The pulverizing, you didn't make it, there was nothing said about it, so it said to pulverize it. So they could have pulverized the top 3 inches and compacted it, been done. The way you're supposed to pulverize is the 3 inches and there's no less than 2 inches of the base. And then you've got to compact with a pad foot roller and a smooth drum roller in order to get 96% density. So there's the other 30,000 right there. If they were just going to do the top 3, lay it down, there's a difference.
Yeah, and there was quite a few of those that I didn't even calculate in, and
Was it
Yeah.
the way the bid was put out?
Yeah.
no, well, I don't think so. Yes and no.
It was kind of generic, Tom.
It was, absolutely, but I talked to 2 people on this for my wording on how to do this. And again, this has been something that all the townships in the area use. I mean, I've been told this. So this is the way I did it. So I thought I was doing it right. Yes. And obviously I did not. And I apologize for that. And it's not
Well,
for
it's not
lack
saying
of
you
trying.
did anything wrong, it's just that there was an extreme difference.
There was, yep. And
So,
Yeah, there were
But
too
when-
many variables, so you weren't comparing apples to apples.
and it should have been because they were both looking at the same bid.
yes,
So,
yes, yes. So I'm sorry it didn't go through. It should be on schedule right now, and I thought it would be. So
Anything else, Tom?
that's all I got.
Okay. Where department?
Since our last meeting, we had 4 EMS calls, 1 Wood County Mavis called. Chris Deaver, he was one of our members who was on leave of absence. He is now reinstated. Fire department wise, training for April will be fire scene prep. Alicia Bauer did pass her state certified officer 1 test. The Brat Fry was a success. Thank you to everybody who came over and had some lunch or supper with the group. EMS, our 2 new AEDs are put into service, and our training will be altered mental status. We've been kind of skipping the community education, but I thought it's important we put it back in there. So April is actually 2 awareness months. One is child abuse awareness, and the other one is Donate Life Awareness Month, which are 2 very important things to be aware of. See our Facebook page for more information as always. Fall Festival is in planning stages, and just watch for more to come on this. Any questions?
I have an unrelated question.
Sure.
Question from a person from our township. The question was, they called me, their fire smoke detectors were going off, the batteries needed changing. So I went over there and I changed them for them. They're an elderly couple.
Okay.
Can they call you for that or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this was in a vaulted ceiling, okay?
We'd have to get some ladders in there, but
Okay.
absolutely they can
So
call
is
us.
that something, and I told them I'd be happy to go over there and do this for them. It's people I know, so I
Yes,
don't have
yes, we
something
will
in
do
it.
that, and that encompasses part of the community EMS that we are endorsed for the state of Wisconsin, is we can offer stuff like that, where they can call the fire department, we'll get a couple people together, we'll go over, we'll check their smoke detectors, CO monitors, and things like that, and that's what the community EMS portion
Okay,
that we're endorsed for, we can do that. All they have to do is call the officer in charge number, and just let us know they don't have to call 911 to get us there.
Do you provide batteries and the
We can.
battery?
If
Or-
they don't
or-
have it, we can.
Okay, or the detectors?
Detectors we have to go through the county for, because there's a special program for those that we can, again, part of the community EMS, we're working on getting some of that stuff lined up. It's just taking a little bit longer than we had thought, but hopefully I have some of that all lined up to get ready to go in July.
Thank you.
So, yeah, let's see, I received a zoning permit on Old Plain and County Road E, and two zoning permits, one for each of those roads, and then one sanitary permit on County Highway C. I received an email on March 28th from a resident saying that the traffic on Man is too fast, asking if the township would consider reducing the speed limit to 35 when they redo Man Street. This would then coordinate with the Spencer Township section of Man Street. There has been an increase of traffic from the new subdivision and construction, along with the new Jehovah's Witness Church. It is dangerous for families biking and walking to get to the McMillan Marsh Trail. In Wisconsin, 45% of drivers go 10 miles above the speed limit regularly, and that would actually put them at the speed limit that it is currently. Thank you for your consideration. So that's that, and I think that's, I got the cyber insurance renewal, yeah, so we'll talk about that later. So that's the rest of, that's all the correspondence that I have.
That'll be something for the next board. The only thing that I don't think that's the town of Spencer's road, though. I think that's the city of Marshfield's.
That's
And
correct.
being it's a city of Marshfield,
Yeah.
being it's a city of Marshfield, they can go lower on their speed limits than we can at certain things. So there may have to be some stuff done by the board with the county and stuff to get
County
that
and
to where-
state, it's almost
Yeah.
an act of God to change any speed limits.
because we're not a city, they are, so.
Right.
It's the town of Spencer until you get over that hill before it's city limits again.
No.
No.
We, went to the search.
So I just want to make a correction. I pointed at Bruce before and said, Gary, it was Bruce that brought the attention, to my attention that I did not say the good things about the feedback. So, and I do appreciate that, and you were 100% correct on that. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I apologize.
Well, the issue of speed limits as well, I mean, without law enforcement, they won't allow anything below 45 miles an hour. We don't have any law enforcement here.
Wow.
That's what I was told by one of the people that did highway before, and I think that was pretty accurate. I don't think that's been changed.
Just wants a squad car.
They know it's gonna read the sign anyways.
Put a bubble on your truck, yes.
Let's see, the checks are presented there, so if you have any questions about those, based on whatever happens with the cyber renewal, I would be seeking a check for them. I received the waste management bill today, so I figured if I'm gonna be writing a check, I might as well pay waste management, and then, I'm also gonna be requesting a check that has not been written for the, First State Bank to pay off the breathers. Donna's got the payoff amount, so I would write that check tonight. Donna can take it away tomorrow.
What would those check numbers be, John?
They would be the next three in sequence, so, 45, 46, and 47.
I make a motion to approve checks 193, 91 through 194, 47. And then the next group of checks 202-30301 through 20230309.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the checks as stated by Steve. Any further? Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Checks approved.
Budget to actual, there's not anything, strange to report there. It shows that it's from January through December 2023, so that's just the year-to-date. But when I do it like that, then the full budget shows up versus just the year-to-date portion of the budget. But overall, I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Your reports, Donna?
You have your loaded, the only thing that I would bring to your attention, make you aware of is the ARPA monies that's gone to 3%, and that was another $554. That helps. And also on the tax account, because that's gone to 3%, used to be 0.01%. We made $1,902.32 on that one. So that's very helpful to get some better interest on those things. And then, as you have approved before, you agreed to move the monies for all of the money that came in for the park rental, the pavilion rental. So there will be $700 moved this month. Last month it was $1,400 this month for 2 months, January, February. And this month is $700. And the last thing I have then is, we need to move, I will ask for a motion to move $50,000 from the tax account to the general checking so he can pay those bills. Because the balance is only $22,000.
I'll make a motion to transfer 50,000 is the amount
Yes,
from
tax account,
tax account to the general account,
yes.
so he can cover his check number 45, 46, and 47.
And payroll.
Yeah, and payroll for the rest of the
Payroll.
month.
Payroll.
I'll second.
A motion, a second, to approve the transfer of funds as stated by Tom. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Funds approved to be transferred. Main Street project, we'll call for bids.
So, as a result of the last meeting, I went and sought some examples from my peers, including the city of Marshfield. I also worked with Kurt Lombach regarding how to make the bids better, more robust. You know, one of the things that sticks out in my mind is that we are required to get the pay and performance bonds, but those weren't in the bids. It wasn't in the call for bids, so there was discrepancy on who would have to pay for that, and it's not an insignificant amount. So, let's see, maybe halfway.
So that does not have to be, that's a state statute?
It is a state statute, so I think that there was discussion on who would pay that. I think that, you know, a lawyer could probably argue that because it's state statute that the contractor is required to pay for it, but regardless, it looks like a lot of the samples that I received, the bid process is more complex. You put a notice in the paper basically saying, contact the clerk for the full specifications, and then they get that, and then they send in that. So I have a draft notice of bid request, that's what I'm suggesting would be posted and put in the newspaper. I highlighted some of the things that I added, so, let's see, I put the full scope of work, we would put that on the homepage, people can email me and get it. I put in there that no proposal would be considered unless it's accompanied by a certified check or a bid bond equal to 5% of the total amount of the proposal. I would hope that they would go with bid bonds. Bid bonds seem to be very cheap, potentially free. The 5% is a significant, that's gonna be a barrier if they're gonna go that way. But the reason that I'm comfortable putting that in there is because the bid bond is kind of aligned with the performance bond. So you say, I'm gonna do this proposal, quote me a performance bond, and then they do, and then they say, here, if you want a bid bond, you can have it for free as long as you get the performance bond from us. So I think it's fine. I don't think it's gonna be prohibiting any competition there. Let's see. They would execute and file the proper contract within 20 days of the award of the bid. And then upon execution of the contract by the town, so after the contract is executed, the work must begin within 40 calendar days. That was another concern that I think that we had, was that, we don't want Man Road to be shut down all summer for, 4 or 5 months. We want it done pretty succinctly. So, let's see. And then I added in there that no proposal may be withdrawn by the bidder for a period of 30 days following the bid opening, which seemed to be pretty common in the samples that I received. And then I went into the bid specifications. This is what I worked with Kurt on a lot. What he was talking about, the pulverizing and compaction specs. So I just cited the WISDOT spec so that they just have to go there and follow that. As you know, I'm unfamiliar with roads. I know how to drive on them, but I don't know how to build them, which is why I had to work with Kurt a lot. So he was very helpful. But this way they can figure out what they need to do and do it. And then I added in more stuff. So like this warranty section, quantities. I noted that the quantities are for comparison purposes only. So there was discussion about whether or not we were comparing apples to apples. So this way we can compare apples to apples. Most of this stuff I think I pulled out of the Marshfield one. The Marshfield bid spec sheet was 30 pages, so I pulled out the stuff that I felt was relevant to a town our size. And then the last page of the Man Street project section of the packet is the bid tab. I think one of my counterparts sent me this, and I thought that this was nice. So this is something that that they're then bidding on. They're saying, we're gonna pulverize it in the existing pavement and compact it. We're gonna do that once. We're gonna charge $10,000 for it. And somebody else says we're gonna charge 20. So then we can compare all of it and then total up. The lowest one wins, because they're saying that they're gonna do all this stuff. One error that Kurt mentioned to me was that I have on item number 2, it's 1.5 dense base aggregate. It should be 1.25. So if there's a motion, I would like that to be changed on there. That's all I know about that.
If we approve this, we can still fix up some grammar and stuff like that later on, right? We don't need to go through that here.
No, we have to do that. If we're gonna approve it, we have to put the approvals on it.
Okay. Okay. Then, Under the, your specifications, John, I would just, under your large last paragraph there, halfway in there, it says, you know, it talks about a sealed bid and a bid bond of 5%, and then it talks about performance and payment bond, and then it says, upon execution of the contract by the town, the check will be returned. I just thought we should clarify that that was the certified check or a bid bond.
Okay, yeah. So I'll add in the certified check or bid bond will be returned.
Yeah, and it should be 100% payment and performance bond.
Okay.
And then, up in the beginning of there, on your third bullet point, you've got, the WISDOT spec, you got an open parent.
Okay.
Sorry, don't make me do parent, please.
Nope, that's good.
So we need a motion to approve this advertisement?
Yes, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the, notice of bid request and the bid request specifications and the, bid tab for the Man Street bid as noted here in these, minutes or meeting packet.
With the corrections.
With the corrections as noted.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to, as Dan had stated for the minutes, the approving of the bid request and so on. Any further discussion? Since there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Reposting it.
Kurt, thank you. John, nice job. Now there's no questions.
Shouldn't be.
Well, there will be, but not as many maybe.
Cyber insurance, sure. So, we had cyber insurance, it lapsed in February. The renewal was unwilling to renew our cyber insurance. Let's see. The thing was, remoting into the computer. There was no multi-factor authentication. And then I said, okay, I'm just not gonna use the desktop computer at the office, I'm just gonna use this laptop and that's that, no problem. And then they said, do you have multi-factor authentication on your email? And I said, no. And so they said, well, they still won't quote it. So I put multi-factor authentication on the email and now they're willing to quote it. So the quote is, $1861 plus 55 in taxes. Oh, 1916.83 is the amount of the check. I think that I need two things: is whether you want to renew the cyber insurance, and then do you want it to start like today or go retroactive to February 18th? We're willing to go retroactive. We would just sign or submit a letter saying that we're not aware of any incidences that happened during that time.
What's our exposure if we don't have it?
I'm not entirely sure. I think that, the insurance people would tell you that there's quite a bit of exposure, but, you know, there's a lot of different things. It's like, so if we were to, if the computer, if my computer got hacked and, you know, put a ransomware on it, there's not, if we had insurance, they would pay the ransom or something like that. But really, we don't need to pay the ransom. The service that I've implemented when we switched.
You have like
to
Carbonite or something?
Yeah, so it's a third-party backup from, so I have all of the stuff stored on the Microsoft servers. So there's a third-party backup that we implemented, so that even if they were to corrupt everything that we have stored at Microsoft, we just back it up from the third party, so like, there's no big deal there. You know, I talked to the IT contractor, he said something about maybe like, voting records and stuff, but that's not really, that's data that I utilize, but I wouldn't consider it stuff that I own. So, how much risk we have is indeterminate.
Be cheaper to buy a new computer?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this
No, I'm
computer.
talking about if they were holding it up for ransom.
Oh, yeah. No, I would just.
I think the deductible is probably more than what a computer costs.
Well, and they wouldn't even do anything, I can just reformat the computer, you know.
Right, exactly.
And then just restore all my data.
Right, it's not like it's.
I think the bigger thing is like, whatever, something, you know, somebody steals some data that we do own, and then somebody does something bad with it. Now, how, you know, like, let's say that your address is on my computer for paychecks, right? And then somehow your address shows up on the dark web. Like, I don't know how you're gonna sue me and say that I was the reason that you're getting.
Right, if it's all public record, what do we have that's not public record?
Social security numbers, that type of thing.
Right, yeah.
And those are in your computer.
And, you know, my insurance guy at my work, my day job, told me once, like, you know, people will sue whoever they can sue. You know, if they can remotely tie you to being responsible for this data, they'll sue you. So, you know, I was talking to the IT contractor, he thought that $2,000 for this coverage, you know, it's probably a different story if it was $10,000,
Right.
but $2,000, I guess, is.
No, I'm not, it's priced right,
Yeah.
right in
Well,
there that it's like, is it worth it or not? You know,
Yeah.
They price it right at that threshold.
Yeah, I struggled with it quite a bit on, whether I thought that the value was there.
Do we have this through Marshfield Insurance? And they won't cover us anymore, or what?
No, they will, it's just that we were with, somebody else last time, and this time they're getting us quoted through RBS.
Oh, it's just a
or
different company?
Lloyd's. Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
different
Yeah.
place, so,
So this covers the fire department's computers also?
yeah.
I'm personally fine with it. I mean, it's insurance. Wow, well, talk to an insurance agent, let them sell you 20 different types of insurance. I mean, when does it stop? But, yeah.
We don't need it until somebody pulls us up.
Yeah. You don't need it until you need it.
I make a motion that we accept the cyber insurance at RBS for a total of $19,1603.
83.
Is it 83?
You're really good with the numbers tonight, Tom.
Yes, 83.
Nope. I'll second the motion.
A motion and second to approve the purchasing of the cyber.
Do you want it to go retroactive to February or start today? I'm pretty confident that there's been no
Yeah, I would say
situation.
today.
Today?
Yeah.
The cyber's insurance renewal for the state of the month. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Ayes have it. Steve? What do you with your,
Okay,
recycling?
yes, so the Northwest Recycling Board met in January, and it was there's a proposal out there to have recycle done every other week. In your handout, there's a lot of details in there. So going from once a month, basically every 4 weeks, it's $3.53, and the cost would be up to $8, which will be every other week.
It's how much and going to what? You want to repeat that? I'm sorry.
$3.50, currently it's $3.53
For once a
a
month?
month, or every 4 weeks is how it
Right.
rolls out on the calendar. And then if we went to every other week, it would go up to $8 a month.
$8 or up $8?
Up to $8,
Okay.
yeah, increase to $8.
Yeah, it's not in the budget anyway.
Seems like they're grabbing some inflation there.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
John and I had talked, there's was it the gas surtax, surcharge? I think it's 5%. So like with anything else going on, there's a surcharge in gas or diesel price too. Just crunching some numbers, we have, as of February, we had 783 households. And in speaking to a few people during the last month or so, there's a small fraction of people that would like a second pickup throughout the month. Currently, there are some of us that have a second recycle bin. Keep that in mind.
And the recycle bin is $20 a year
Correct, yes.
for the extra one.
Yes, $20 a year, and then, say if you picked up we've had a couple residents ask for a recycle bin into the third month, which is prorated, that $20 is prorated down to, say, $15. I just had a resident, she wanted an extra bin, and then when the tax bill comes out,
That'll be put on there.
yeah, you have to correct me if I'm wrong here, the line item, it's right on your taxes for your property tax.
They used to bill it separately, unless they've changed that, I don't know.
I can put it right on.
Okay.
As long as I have the names and the households and who corrected each year. As an assessment, they're separated.
You have 2 bins,
Yes,
and what do you send 2 bins out once a month, then you're good?
yes,
And be a lot cheaper?
I would think so.
yes. And I guess, being new to doing the motions and the things like that, we need to have some discussion, because I've got some additional stuff I'd like to throw out there, or,
Okay.
but, well, and then before that, sorry. There's, right now, we've got 19 households in the township that are getting the second bin. So, what this would mean is, it's all or nothing with the Northwest Recycling Board. Either we sign up for that second pickup, or we don't. Or go this other route of whoever needs an extra recycle bin, we pay the extra $20 a month.
A year.
A year, sorry, thank you.
My suggestion would be, if they need another garbage can, let them get one. and not go with the $8 a month.
Because otherwise you're punishing everybody.
My recyclable goes down there maybe once every 3 months.
Yeah, exactly, I'm in that same boat.
Oh my God.
But you need to get that out to the public.
Right.
A lot of people don't know there's $20.
To get the extra can. And then when the contract comes up and there's 5 townships holding the axe, that's when you approach them.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of the situation right now.
Absolutely.
And they can always take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So you, the question on it, so you want to go forward with the second week, with the second pickup?
I don't know, I don't want to.
So then state your, okay.
I make a motion that we do not accept Northwest Recycle Board's every other recycling proposal. We stick with whoever wants to voluntarily get a second bin.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I've got one question. There's 6 townships in the northwest, right? What if the other 5 say they want it? We still don't have to take it, right?
No.
That is a good question.
I'm just asking.
No, that's a
I'm
good
not
question.
sure
If we get outbid, if we get
Yeah,
outbid,
if you have the other 5 say we want it every other week, and we're sitting here saying we don't want it, do we still get billed for it and have to pay it?
That's it. The contract for all of them, I think is what, is another 4 years?
3 years.
3 years?
2026, yes.
We're sitting right now without it. So they would have to decide in a couple of years if they wanted to. They would have to stick to the contract we currently have.
All right, so
Yeah.
I would think that to change the contract, there'd have to be unanimous agreement, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would imagine that there's probably a contract that we signed to get into the Northwest Recycling Board.
Correct.
And, you know, but it might be unanimous and it might be super majority, I don't know. So, I mean, but I think that this is the best that we can do now. And then if that problem comes up, then.
Well, and if every other township has the same dollar values put in front of them, they're not
Yeah.
going to. I don't see anybody approving that.
By my math, it was 100% increase in
Yeah.
pickups, but 120% increase in price. So
Right.
Right.
on the face, it's a bad deal, but,
Because they're not factoring in that
yeah.
you still have the same amount of material that you're recycling.
yeah.
It's just the number of times you're picking it up. You know, so why is it, you know, so it's actually more than 120% increase if you factor that in. You know, the cost of recycling.
So a motion a second not to change the agreement that we have with them?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Not going to times. The right to rezone, the CSM?
I had one question real quick. Dorothy, you had said that, that we can't have a driveway off of County Road E.
The county doesn't like to add additional driveways, and that's right on a curve.
Okay, how does that lot 3 get accessed?
If they all come off from the curve,
Is there an easement in there or something that I'm missing?
well, they'd have to put in a driveway, because when you look at it, he can come off from, off of that turf.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't see that down on the bottom. Okay, never mind. I was just seeing the top and the side. I didn't see that there was a road.
And from what I understand, there's an existing driveway into that field right now.
There's 3 of them, I think.
Okay, so,
I guess the one that concerns me, I guess the question out of, for the saying that we did not come off of Highway E, is lot number 3. Are you allowed to make driveways through floodplains?
So,
Oh, yeah.
what the
I mean,
county,
because they have no dry land.
Exactly, so I don't know, lot 3 you're looking at?
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking at that myself, and I made a couple notes here. I know talking to the county over the last couple of years, they want you, off of any county road, they want you to, if you can, make it 300 foot for any driveway off any county road. They don't want it on a curve. And as far as the wetlands go, if you have wetlands, you have to get the DNR involved in that, to cross those wetlands.
It's not wetlands, it's floodplain.
Floodplains. So, lot 3 would be the hardest one. But that's,
Well, if they're gonna zone it this way, that's more or less the landowner's.
exactly, that's here or there, that's right. Yep. Yep. So,
If they wanna landlock that and deal with the DNR, that's
that is,
really not any of our
They
concern.
can build it right next to the extended.
that is correct.
You know, they're not gonna use that part of it, but they can still.
Cause this road ain't there,
Yeah.
and neither is this. This one is up to their house. So he's gonna put that road in, we're gonna have another road coming right up.
And if you're going up at E or anything like that, it's not their problem.
I make a motion that we accept the Weigel, and, yep, CSM. Keep that simple.
All second.
Can you have it be except the CSM and rezone? I understand this stuff about the.
Okay, and rezone to rural residential. Okay.
I have a second, a motion and a second on
No,
rezone.
who seconded? Okay, thanks.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Rezone successful. Appointment of board member to update personnel policy.
Ms. Lopez, you still there?
Yes,
You have a couple of words you want to say about that?
well, for years, we've been talking about our policy and procedure book, and it is a wonderful guideline as long as it is updated. We've talked about doing that for several years, and so I volunteered to be one to lead that, or to try and bring our policy and procedure book up to date. It won't be done overnight, but, I certainly would like to try.
I'll make a motion to, appoint, Carolyn Opitz as the, to update the personnel policy for the town of McMillan.
Can I make a suggestion here?
Sure.
We did start that a few years ago. It was all in the office and they started typing it by recommendation of the attorney and got rid of the old policies and procedures manual. Again, by recommendation of the attorney. So it was all started and in there. And Jessica was the one that had started it, typing it up to bring it to the board. So it is all there, it's all put together basically, and it should be in the office. So it is started.
I will second that.
Motion and second. Further discussion?
So I'm guessing, Carolyn, that you will pick somebody to help you out with this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes.
Deb, what was that name? Who started that? Type?
Actually, John did, when
Okay.
he was on finance. And
Okay.
then he turned it back over and then we had Jessica working on it. So,
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Number 16, amendment code for chapter 61, emergency services. Being that I'm also on the department and Lori is my wife, I am at this time abstaining from any further discussion on this item.
Are you there, Mrs. Opitz?
Yes, I am.
Okay, this is you.
Pardon me?
I said, this is you. So,
Well,
this,
I thought Lori is the chief. She is the one to be presenting it.
okay, I got it. I'm here. So, a while back, this chapter 61 was changed to where all the disciplinary action on any fire department member had to come over here. And if we had a dispute with it, from there we had to take it to the county level and talk to the DA, and get it all done that way. We have bylaws for the fire department that lay out our disciplinary action as far as our members are concerned. So we would like to change this back to where the officer group of the fire department we're able to discipline our own people the way we see fit. Because not everything has to come over here. A lot of it is we can deal with it in-house, we can retrain, we can educate, we can do all of that ourselves. It does not have to come over here, involve you guys in it, for no reason. The only way it would come over here, if it was something super big that we couldn't handle, like some felony thing or some heavy thing like that, then we would bring it over here. But as far as the regular discipline of our department, we have bylaws set up with that, and we have it outlined. First is a warning, second is this, third is this, and then you get a group together and you sit down and you talk to the person about it. That's one of the changes we'd like to make. Another change we'd like to make is how the fire chief is elected. Also in our bylaws, we have got where the fire chief is elected by the members of the department. And once that election is done, and you have a new chief or a reoccurring chief, then it comes over to the town board for your approval. If you don't approve of that person, then you have to state reasons why you don't approve. It's all spelled out right there. The attorney did a very nice job revamping all this for us. And then as far as getting rid of the fire chief, we put in there a vote of no confidence. And that the vote of no confidence can be brought up by any member of the fire department, voted on by the voting members of the department, and then brought over here. And then that's their time to give reasons and whatnot, and then you guys make that decision. This is going to streamline it. It's going to make it so we have control of our disciplinary action, how we elect our chief, how we get rid of our chief. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense to involve you guys in all of this stuff. You have enough on your plate. You don't need to be involved in a disciplinary action in how we hire or how we elect our chief, is my feeling. You guys approve it when we get a new chief. I mean, you guys say yes or no that way. If you don't agree with it, you have to give reasons, is what it basically boils down to.
Are there a lot of discipline issues?
Nope.
So, I guess,
There was a problem, this is Carolyn. There was a problem years ago, and at that point, we did not have a grievance policy. And so, somehow or other, that grievance policy became the thing for just the fire department. That grievance policy is supposed to be for
here tonight too if you have questions that I can answer.
I can't hear.
Brian Hopperdietzel's here too, Mrs. Obitz.
He what?
He's here. He's present for questions.
Okay, wonderful. Brian, you can take over from there.
You did a very good job explaining it, Carolyn.
Okay, so right now, as it stands,
If I have to discipline somebody over there for some reason, I can't. I need to come over here, put it on the agenda, and put it in front of you guys.
right.
And you guys
So
take care
we
of this.
are responsible for all members for this township, this
Correct.
5-member board,
As it stands right now, yes.
as it stands.
Yep.
I believe it is. So, go ahead. No, go ahead.
If something happens tomorrow,
I gotta bring it to you guys. Because
next month,
yeah, it's gotta wait a month, unless you wanna call a special meeting to take care of it. Otherwise, we can take care of it in-house
when was this changed?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay.
And it was recommended by the attorney. The attorney had actually said that we should have a 5-member commission, okay? And in order to avoid a lot of conflict with that, I went with the recommendation to change the ordinance, and that's when the attorney rewrote the ordinance.
Same attorney?
Yep. Just depends what you want at the time. But I think what you need to keep in mind is the board is still responsible for all employees in this township.
Correct, but we also have disciplinary action listed in our bylaws. We can take care of over here before it has to come over here. And with the way this is currently written right now, we can't do that.
Okay.
It all has to come over to you guys.
So I have a question, and forgive me for saying this. It's just, I have to say it because it's on my mind. We have a very unique situation in this township where there is one family that has a lot of members on this fire department.
If something happens where Cody, Alicia, or Rod come up for disciplinary, I remove myself. I have 4 other officers, or 2 other officers that can take care of that.
Okay, so.
I don't have to be involved in that.
So,
Right.
if I remember, your daughter, she is an officer, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's 2.
But we have
Okay.
Pat and Kim.
Okay, so are 2 a legal amount to take care of disciplinary action?
Yes.
Okay.
And if we want a third, we can pull in someone from the rank and file to come in, and that would be 3, if that's what you so choose. I think,
You have Adam also.
yes, you have Adam also. So you would have 3 officers right there to take care of us. And if there's any disciplinary action against me, it has to come to you guys. Because I am the chief, it has to come to you guys.
Okay.
The rank and file can't take care of it. The other officers can't take care of it. It's on you to take care of my discipline.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add, Brian?
Anything you want to add?
Who, me? Did you change your bylaws recently, or are those still,
No, there's still the same ones we've had for
so
years.
there's not a lot there?
There's enough. If
Has
you
the
would like
board
to
looked at
still
the
see, I have
bylaws?
it here. And you should also have a copy of this on file. I only have 1 copy, sorry. Yeah. So it's, all the way to J there, and it starts right there.
So, Brian,
Yes.
do you have anything to add here?
Lori said it pretty good, but there has to be some discretion and leeway for the fire department to discipline their own to a point. I was on Hewitt for 32 years, I was chief for 11. And the commission allowed me to discipline. If it was something major, yes, I brought it to my commission. But internally, we took care of our own. If there was a minor infraction on the fire ground, myself and my officers pulled that individual and did the discipline. I would tell the commission what was going on. I always kept them in the loop, but we did the discipline in-house. Unless it was something major where I had to relieve somebody totally of the fire department, put them on leave, then it had to go through the commission. But otherwise, it was all through the fire department and the officer. So.
So right now, so you're talking that 5-member commission, so right now that would be the board, right?
Yeah, for you
Just
folks,
so I can make that
I work
correct.
under a commission, both the town and the village, so, but in this case, it would be you as the board, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think that the attorney, when he read it, has said, you know, the way it is written right now really refers more to a commission and we don't have a commission. We don't have that we have our own fire department and for instance, Stratford has a commission. And did you say, Brian, that Hewitt does do this still?
Oh, yes, they do.
Okay, so there are areas that do have commissions. We do not have a commission. So we are solely our department. That's why a lot of that just didn't make sense and pertain to our situation. And so, Brian and I had a long conversation except, you know, the bylaws were done not maybe 10 years ago, Brian?
Roughly,
Maybe not that long ago.
I think 2014 was the last time they were updated. If I
But the
remember.
ordinances really need to go along or match or have some correlation between the two. And so, the way this is, it's apples and oranges. So,
yeah, if you leave it the way it is, you need to make sure the fire department's bylaws follow what's written in the ordinance. Right now, there's a conflict on how things need to operate.
I would say
So one of
bylaws
them-
need to be updated, most definitely.
Is that, I mean, have you guys looked at doing anything with your bylaws at all, or?
No, I have been working on policies and procedures,
Right.
because policies and procedures are how we operate on the fire ground, how we do this, how we do that. I need to make sure those are up to date and ready to go. And I have not honestly had time to sit down and do anything with the bylaws.
So you've obviously looked at the bylaws, Brian,
Yes, I have, I helped write it.
and right now as they sit, I mean, they could use some work.
I like the way they are right now, honestly. It has a progressive discipline. It's just a matter of if you're going to allow the fire department to internally do progressive discipline, or if it's gonna have to go totally through your board.
Okay.
That's the biggest question.
So I have two concerns, and maybe they're not concerns, but one is, I didn't realize that any issue with the chief comes here, okay? That relaxes some of it. Two is transparency on, so if you say you don't have a lot of discipline issues, if you do have discipline issues, is there a report brought and put on file so that we are aware of this, or the board is aware of this?
There can be, I mean, the way it's been done in the past, if we sit down and do a verbal conversation, we type something up that this is your verbal warning, yada, this is what we talked about, date and sign it, and it goes in their personnel file at the fire department. The next time we sit down for the same thing, we bring that out, okay, here was your warning, now this is the next step we need to do.
Okay.
If you want a copy of that, we can do that.
Well, and I say this because if there are a lot of infractions going on, then at that point, as a board member, if I have in 3 months 15 of these infractions going on, then that would be a time we might pull the chief in and say, what is going on here?
Right.
Something has to
If
change.
you want copies of what we put in our files,
I
that's
think
fine.
there should be someplace, at least a notification that something happened, an incident. I don't know if we need a copy or not, but some kind of transparency so that there is
Because
something.
we need to be careful
that-
how we do that portion of
And
it,
I
because that's
get that
personnel
too,
records.
and I get it, I get it,
And I can't put it on my report to the board because that's not something that belongs there.
I get that too.
So we're gonna have to come up with a different way to inform you guys,
Yep.
because that's not public record.
Well, and it can
Because
be,
it's-
and it's more an issue than who did the issue,
Right,
to me.
okay.
well, it does ultimately go to, after the fire department does, it does, goes through whatever their procedures, and it
No, but what I'm getting at, Carolyn, so if there's a lot of infractions going on, then after so many, I think it's time that the chief has to be sat down by the board members and asked what's going on. Because right now, there's no infractions going on. So if all of a sudden there's a bunch of them going on, and it may be a simple, you know, they're all young and they don't know what's going on yet, they're still in the beginning of their training. It may be something just as simple as that. But I think there should be something there so that the board kind of understands what is going on. Because ultimately, we are, or the board is responsible for those people. They truly are. So I think somehow they have to know about it.
Well, but I feel that is, and I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way, but feel strongly that it is the chief. The chief is of that fire department. It is the chief. If there is one or two times, whatever, it is that chief's job to inform the board as soon as the whole thing starts. You know, if there's an infraction.
And you're talking about one certain individual. I'm talking about multiple individuals. So it's more than just this one person and strike three. I'm talking 5 different individuals. One has 2, one has 1, and the other ones have 2. You know, now there's something within the system that isn't right.
Well,
And that's the only point I'm trying to make here.
okay.
And
That's different.
it is different. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can work together on that one.
Yeah.
Well, and as part of your report, you could say, go ahead.
There's no issue with reporting out exactly what the discipline is for. You can just go into closed session. So if there's ever an issue, if she has to do some discipline, we just put on the agenda that there's closed session for this employment situation. It's Wisconsin Statute 1985 1B. And then it's just the fire chief reporting out to the board, and she can say exactly, oh, this person, whatever,
And we can do that.
crashed
That's
something
fine.
here.
I'm fine with that.
And if they're rare, then
Exactly.
then it's
Probably not an issue. Right.
But then you wanna put it in your ordinance that way too.
And I think, you know, I don't know, that's something that you guys might just put on your agenda to relook at your ordinance and see if it's up to snuff with what's going on here.
That's what we did, Tom. We looked at it, and when it became, that's why it was brought to my attention, and that's why I went to Brian. And I said, you know, what is the scope here? And he said, well, first of all, it doesn't follow the bylaws of the department, and he made some of the changes in the change that was made. So, you know, that's what this right now is all about. Now, what you're talking about is there may be something else at some point that needs to be added or whatever, you know, but at this point, just flip the thing to match, to go along with the bylaws, so that, and the board is fully aware of what is, the fire department is doing, you know, so, follow the protocol like it is, like it's written right now. And if that doesn't work, then you have to make some additions or changes. But that's what they just now tried to, by Brian helping to redo this, is how, that's what we're attempting to do at this point.
Lori, would you be willing to go with me to the attorney's office and sit down and make sure that these both comply, the ordinance and the bylaws?
Sure.
Okay,
It'll just have to be on a Friday, because that's my only day off from work.
that's fine, it's gonna have to be a couple of weeks anyway. But I'd be more than willing to go up there and sit down with the attorney, with you and I, and get it to work.
I'm willing to.
Okay, then that doesn't mean, then that means we can't take a motion tonight?
You can table it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got a question. You know, so a couple of years ago, we paid an attorney to change it, and that was his recommendation. And now all of a sudden, they wanna change it back, and we're paying an attorney again.
Same one.
Yeah, that was my
So
question.
what brought this up that they wanna change it back? I mean, something must have happened that,
It just, you just read the two and they just don't match.
Well, we can
I
get them to
mean,
match. We can look at it and get them to match.
I mean,
Either
I just-
update the,
Your bylaws.
I, as the chief, would like to be able to sit down with my firemen. If I have a small issue brought to me, I want the option to sit down and have a conversation, do the investigating part of it, sit down and have a conversation with these people instead of saying, okay, guess what? We're all going to the board, we're gonna talk about this. I don't have that option with this right now. And I would like to get back to having that option, to
well,
sit down and
if you
discuss
haven't
it.
had a problem in the last few years, Lori, it shouldn't be an issue anyway. And I think we should be able to sit down and get the bylaws and the ordinances to coincide with each other.
I agree.
As it is right now, do they?
No.
No, they do not.
No, with
No.
what
they
you're
don't.
trying to pass right now.
Well, with what is trying to go right now, yes.
Okay.
With what it was before, no.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just trying to protect my firefighters who having to come over
I-
here and sit.
Yeah, no, I.
When I can
I-
actually sit down and have a conversation myself with
I
them.
get that.
Or Adam sit down and have a conversation with them. And we can't do that with them like this. And we need to be able to do that, to get their trust in us, to
I
get
get that.
communication going, and we can't do that.
But yeah, your board is still the one responsible for all employees in this township.
Ultimately, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Right, and
Well,
like I
yes,
said, if
we
it's a
are.
huge infraction,
Yep.
you guys are gonna know about it.
Right.
But if it's something that they just need a little reinforcement, I don't need to bring it to you guys to do it. We can do that in-house.
Yes,
Yeah,
but then the board needs, well, you need to keep the board in, and that's not anything different at all. It's always the way it's been, that it is there, they try to, they handle it, but they keep the board informed. And that will continue to happen.
My questions are done. I have no more questions.
Questions?
Well, I know how I feel, so we might as well just see how you guys feel. I'm gonna make a motion to amend the code for chapter 61 emergency services, as laid out in the packet here, as modified by the town of McMillan lawyer. Do I need to add anything else?
Do you want to add the detailed report to the board after each?
I don't think it has to be a detailed report.
No, that's enough.
Just a notification that an infraction was and you guys handled something in-house.
Right.
And that's fine.
So add,
That's all the way it's been.
okay, so I'll add that to section H. It says, discipline of fire department personnel shall be according to the bylaws of the fire department. Notification by the fire chief to the town board at the next regularly scheduled town board meeting.
That's always the way it's been.
But it's not in here, it's not written in here, so if it's not written in here, then it's not, you know,
Is it in their bylaws?
I don't know if that's, you know.
Okay, well,
You guys got my bylaws. Keep up the party.
that's in their bylaws to do that. Ask Brian if that isn't so.
I don't believe it is.
I don't believe so, Carolyn,
Okay.
but
well,
it's, John has it.
then you must have it then.
I will second that.
So the motion I have recorded is amend the code for, ordinance 61 for emergency services, add to section H, notification of discipline to the town board at the next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Any comments?
I
Or
do
do you call it, Rod, or not?
He's abstaining.
He's abstaining. Okay, right, okay. So if there's no further comment, we vote yes or no? Tom?
You want just do an open vote or?
Open vote, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for your help with that.
Back up with number 17, tent rental regulations and permits.
All right, so this come about because Mrs. Opus was talking to me that there's people who want to rent the pavilion and put big tents out there, okay? We had in place tent regulations when Farm Tent Days was here. So it would just be, as you have in front of you, everything there, no smoking, no burning things inside. You gotta have fire extinguishers. When they get the tent put up, well, before actually, I included a tent permit application for you guys to look at. Once they fill this out, it would come to the fire department, and we would go and inspect it after it's set up to make sure everything's there. And I do have a way in our new reporting program to print out a printed permit for them after it's approved, so they can put it up, say, yep, this was, because these big tents get to be a fire hazard, because you got fans under there with lights and whatnot and everything, and you got straw and people smoking, and fire prevention falls back on the fire department again. So this is us doing our fire prevention bit to help make those tents safer for everybody. And it wouldn't only be for the pavilion, but anybody who has a large tent in the township, I'd have to apply for a tent permit, no cost to the township, just so we make sure everything is safe and everything is taken care of, and if something happens, they have a permit saying, yep, the fire department came in and inspected and said it's good to go. Because I do know a couple years ago, we had a big tent up here, it started to rain, they dropped all the sacks down. They had candles on the tables, they had bale straw all over the place. One knock of that and we're in trouble. This will help prevent that, or try to prevent it, because they're gonna have regulations to go by.
These are state regulations that you're using, correct?
Correct. They are state regulations. And it does state it on the application. That it is Wisconsin Department of Commerce Administration Code, Chapter 62, subsection 3, tents, and the Town of McMillan Ordinance, Chapter 223, assemblies of mass public. So right on the application, it cites the two things that we're using.
What's the starting size?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
I got that in there too.
We rented for our daughter's graduation, there's this large
Here.
tent from Hiller's Hardware. I'm sure that would qualify.
Let's see, for a portable, when you read it, go on the second page, fire extinguishers. A portable fire extinguisher extinguishing equipment shall be with a minimum rating of, your normal. For a tent that are over 144 square feet.
It's 12 by 12. Right?
Yep, and not to exceed 75 feet. Or as directed by the fire department.
144 square feet, you said?
Yes,
So a 12 by 12?
correct.
Okay. So if they want to put out a tent to camp in their yard, they need a permit? I'm just asking, because they are.
A tent to camp to me is different than this kind of tent. This is a
Does it say
mass
that?
gathering tent.
That's not ordinance.
Okay, well, this is Carolyn again. We do
Oh,
have
true. Okay.
a wedding, that has reserved a pavilion and requesting that they put up a tent. So now, do we, at the time, well, they've already signed the agreement, do we get to have them then come in and fill out a permit? Is that what is that involved with us on the board?
Nothing really, it's just them filling out the tent permit we can put it on the website. They just email it or drop it off or mail it to the fire department. We open it up, take a look at it, and they tell us when it's gonna be up. We go take a look at it, and it's done.
It's for their safety.
It's for their safety.
I know that, but I'm just asking for the protocol for us now.
I think in this position, or this situation, I would say that this is only gonna benefit you that you fill this out. You and your guests.
But do I tell them that when, who has the permit? Do they have to go to Lori or?
Mrs. Opitz, one thing that can be done, as Lori said, you can put it on the website. There's nothing stopping you from having it with your normal application for renting the pavilion. And they say, hey, we're gonna have a large tent. And you go, by the way, this is what you have to do so that you can be informed on how to safely put up the tent and operate the tent. And that's basically what this permit is for. It's so that it's awareness deal so people know how to safely operate with it.
Very good.
And like I said, there's no charge to township people to do this. It's just, again, for their safety, us doing our fire prevention part of what we're supposed to do to help keep our community safe.
And you said it's in state statute?
Correct.
This is already in state statute.
Correct. It's the Wisconsin Department of Commerce Administrative Code, Chapter 62, subsection 3.
Well, then there should be one in our ordinance already, isn't there?
No.
Well, then why would?
If you go into ordinance chapter 223, assemblies in mass public, it really doesn't say anything about tents, and people are putting tents up, and we need to protect the township with these tents. So if something happens and these catch fire, we've got like 2 minutes before it's all gone. And this tent permit, I got directly from the City of Marshall Fire Department, and these regulations, I also got from them. So the Fire Department of Marshall does do this, they go out and inspect tents.
Are there any consequences if they don't get the permit, Lori?
Then they can't do their thing. All it's gonna require is them put up no smoking signs and fire extinguishers.
I understand all that, but I'm saying if somebody decides to put up a large tent in their yard.
I'm not gonna seek these people out.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm not
just
gonna go,
asking,
oh, wait, you need this?
do they need one if they are gonna have a big gathering in their yard?
Public safety wise, yes.
Okay, so then you're gonna have to get the information out to them in order to do this also.
We can put it on the website, we can put it on the fire department Facebook page, we can put it on the town's Facebook page. I mean, we can plaster wherever you want with
You're
this.
coming into tent season.
Yep, I know. That's how this came up. It's because Mrs. Opitz and I were having a conversation. She says, I got a person who wants to do a really big tent in August. What do we do? I said, well, we have time. Let's start putting something in place to make them safe.
Is a open-sided tent considered a tent?
Yes.
Well, that's,
Because
I don't know the size of the tent.
Because our Fall Fest tent is open-sided and we still have fire extinguishers in there.
right. I'm just saying, there's a lot of graduations that are gonna be bigger than a 12 by 12.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And those for community safety.
But not a lot. I
Right.
mean, they're gonna be,
Right, but there again,
12 by
community
16.
safety, making sure everybody is safe. Part of the fire department's job is fire department prevention, and that's what we're doing here. Our fire prevention, making them aware, this is what you have to have if you're gonna have a tent this big. And this is what you cannot do inside the tent.
We have to pay a fire department member to go do this?
No. Nope. Nope.
Do you have the fire extinguisher assets?
I can probably come up with somebody who can donate some for me to have sit there, so if we gotta put one up quick, we can.
That'd be awesome.
I
Lori, that would extend a heck of a liability on this municipality if you start giving extinguishers to residents, and if something happens and it doesn't work,
Okay.
oh
So then
boy.
do you want the tent company to supply the fire extinguishers?
I don't know how you're gonna be able to enforce, I don't know how you would do this. Yeah, I'm wondering
I
how much
get it.
liability you're
I
taking
get it,
on.
I understand it. I don't wanna hinder people from doing their event, but I want it done safely too, so nobody gets hurt.
I understand, I'm just,
No, I get where you're coming from, Ray.
Yeah.
I really do. I get it. I mean, but in a pinch, we have to, I'm
So
sure.
that state statute actually lists that it has to have a fire extinguisher in there?
Yes. Because I looked that up, because I wanted to make sure I had my stuff in there.
Well, we have one in the pavilion.
Right.
Does that, is
No,
that different?
that covers your
That stays
pavilion.
in the pavilion.
I don't see anything.
Well, then we just get, have two of them there and just take one out into the
Well,
pit?
again, this is what Ryan just brought up, is that none of the liabilities on that.
Okay, I couldn't hear what he said.
If they're renting a tent, they're renting shares, and they're doing this whole big thing, it's not a big deal for them either with the tent company to rent that extinguisher, or they go to Menards and they purchase a cheap extinguisher. Leave it on them to do the extinguisher.
Okay. That's-
Yep.
And that's
I
fine.
mean, just do that you do your inspection and show them their violations, and it works that way. I mean, it's just,
Pretty simple.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, everybody wants to be safe, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you do the inspection and they don't follow the recommendations and somebody gets hurt, it's gonna be on them, because it's their event. It's their tent, it's their deal. You pointed out on paper what they needed to do to try to make it safe. I mean, it's,
Yeah, okay. Sounds good to me.
My guess is they're not gonna call the fire department and they have on their own property. Taking it.
Question.
I personally don't think we should allow them to put a tent up there. at the pavilion. And I know a few years ago, then we had an issue with tent was put somewhere and they left a stake in the ground and the lawnmower hit it.
That was
I
a.
know where it was.
Yeah. I mean, stuff happens all the time, and I don't personally don't see a problem with a tent. I just,
Pick up your pigs.
I have the problem with residents wanting to put a tent up and then finding out that they have all kinds of rules they have to follow.
So I'm in the chapter 62 right now, and there's nothing in there about the 144 square feet size. I'm searching the entire.
Like I said, the regulations are from Marshfield.
Okay.
And they figure that's a decent size. If you go smaller than that, well, great. But if you go 144 square feet or larger,
Sure.
then we need to start taking a look at, is the safety stuff in place?
People in the bathroom bigger than that.
Yes.
I think that we're wandering into territory that should be personal liability and under their homeowner's policy.
But if they do it up here at the pavilion, it
At the
falls-
pavilion's
it falls
different,
on the
but I'm
township.
talking about into people's yards for graduations and stuff. That's what people carry homeowners insurance for. But I see the concern about the pavilion, I just wouldn't let them have a tent. You got a pavilion.
Well, either that or make sure that they have the equipment necessary, or they know the rules.
I have mixed feelings on it, because we have pushed the heck out of that pavilion for rentals.
Mhm.
And now we got people that are wanting tents.
And they've
And
got
I
it
know
in the past.
Yes, and now, and I know I have a family member that wants to do this, and they wanna put a tent up. And it's like,
Right.
well, it,
Yeah.
and it can be, if this is an issue, it can be. I think it's a no-brainer that the fire department comes through and looks at it and says, hey, this is a fire hazard, don't be smoking in here.
On a pavilion, I agree, you know, if you're gonna do that, yes, I think we have to have
Here,
control.
yes, I think this is where it should be
Yes.
used, here.
And that's fine, like I said.
Not
For the
in the public.
residents, I'm not gonna go out seeking, okay, I see a tent, I'm gonna come inspect
You
it.
can
No,
put
just,
something in a newsletter on the website.
if you want a
that says
permit,
it's
call me, I'll come look
recommended.
at
Yes,
it. and-
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
We
if
can
you would
work
like
with
us
the
to, we
residents.
will come and inspect it.
yeah.
Yeah, it is, it's
Absolutely.
recommended that you.
But
do
for up
so.
here, I think we definitely need to have it inspected before they put people in it.
I
Because
do.
if something happens, it falls back on the township, and we need to make sure we're doing everything we can to put the liability back on them. And as far as the residents, give us a call if you want us to inspect it, we'll come do it. It's,
I make a recommendation that we accept the tent regulation for tents bigger than 12 by 12 restricted to the pavilion grounds
And the fire department.
and the fire department.
Town McMillan properties.
Town of McMillan
Okay,
properties.
perfect, thank you. And make the recommendation to citizens that if they would like an inspection before their parties, the fire department's happy to come and do that.
So that was a motion to accept the tent regulations for tents larger than, the tent regulations as presented for tents larger than 12 by 12, restricted to town of McMillan property.
Or maybe I should go 144 square feet because it doesn't necessarily.
Why even list the size if it's on town McMillan property?
So,
Well, one thing you also have to remember into this is we're talking residential, but we also have businesses. And if they're gonna put up a big for the businesses should be inspected also, businesses.
Yep.
Not residential, and I think that's where the distinction should be here. We say we're not gonna do.
Town McMillan and non-residential.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay, you want to review the motion? Right? I'm wandering a little bit.
accept the tent regulations as proposed, restricted to town of McMillan and non-residential properties.
Correct.
Okay.
Farm fields. Farmers. It's not residential.
Well, it depends upon if the farmer's putting it up for his own thing, that's his personal
Or
property
if they're
then.
having a
Or if
demo
he's
day.
having farm tech days, that's not business, that's commercial.
Even if he's
And that's where it
doing,
rolls into.
even if he'd be doing a field demo and puts it up, we would have to go because another business is coming in.
Right.
But that's not the farmer doing it, then it's a
No,
seed
it's a
company or it's a,
Right.
that's commercial, then you get a second.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Now we can discuss. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. All in favor, please say, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All in favor, say nay. Motion passes. Motion passes.
Rob, did you vote on that?
Yes,
That's
which
fire
I can,
department.
but it's not dealing with Lori or anyone
Oh,
else.
my.
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you.
I have no idea. You'd have to ask them.
Board, have anything else to do? Any motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
What do I owe you?
Motion and second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion
They
adjourned.
gotta be signed.
Meeting adjourned.
Oh, wait.
We did already.
Anyway, before everybody leaves,
What do I owe
I
you?
would like to thank Tom and Ron for their time that they
How much
spent
are
on the board from the community.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Carolyn.
much for all you have done.
Thank you.
I'm giving one to you.
You got my thanks.
Well, I owe you a buck.
That's Steve.
I got one at home. You can stop over to the house. Okay. All right. All right. Let's screwed up now, say that. Well, I called Bob and I called Steve on it, you know, and explained what the history was on the ordinance. Well, it just shows me that it's a little bit stupid. Completely.
Not yet, nope.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Actually, it's more nicer. I tried to offer.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Someone's looking.
Oh, yeah.
It's
they're not there. Whatever it is, it's always been the same. Yeah, same shift every day. Yeah, so we know where we got her. Yeah, probably.
Nicole just texted me while asking me like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So the lawyer fees, whose budget does that come out of? The lawyer, the attorney fees?
I don't know, I guess you'd have to ask the board, because I'm guessing it comes out of administration.
Well, I wouldn't think it should.
No, I shouldn't. It's all under department's issue. That'll be brought up next month. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
Yes.
She'll bring it up herself anyway.
She probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. As dumb as I am,
Okay.
so I was on the phone with someone today.
I wish I could.
Someone else was leaving in.
Okay.
How the hell they answered that